Good evening and welcome to the January meeting of the Committee of Adjustments. Before we begin, I'll ask that the territorial acknowledgement be read.
We have gathered in Wilmot Township on the traditional territory of the Neutral, Anishinaabe, Haudenosaunee, and Mississauga peoples. We also want to acknowledge the importance of the Dish with One Spoon Covenant, a peace agreement made between Indigenous nations before the Europeans arrived. It characterizes our collective responsibility to each other and Mother Earth. We should take only what we need, leave enough for others, and keep the dish clean. By acknowledging this covenant and the First Nation, Métis, and Inuit peoples, we are reminded of our important connection to this land where we live, learn, and work together as a community.
Thank you. I would like to begin by introducing our committee. To my right is Steve Miller, Christine Kohler, and Wayne Roth. With us as well this evening is Cameron Miller, the planner for our township. And my name is Tyler Bowman. I'm chairing this committee. We are an independent body appointed by the Wilmot Township Council. We have the power to make minor changes to existing zoning regulations and to approve some changes to existing non-conforming uses and to give consent. Each applicant will be notified in writing of the decision within 10 days, and with the decision will be instructions on how to appeal it. Any decision made by this committee can be appealed to the Ontario Land Tribunal, who will then hold a meeting and make a final decision. Only the applicant and certain prescribed public agencies can appeal the committee's decision. If the decision on a minor variance is not appealed, it becomes final and binding after 20 days from the date of this meeting. And if a decision on a consent item is not appealed, it becomes final and binding after 20 days from the date of the decision is mailed. And so for the format of this meeting will be as follows. Mr. Cameron Miller will introduce the applications. We have 3 tonight. The applicant will then be invited to come forward and add any additional information if they choose. Following that, anyone in the audience or attending virtually will be or have the opportunity to speak for or against the application. The committee members may then question the applicant, and following that, the committee will make a final decision. So before we start, I'd like to ask, are there any disclosures of pecuniary interest under the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act? Seeing none, I'll ask Mr. Miller to introduce the first application.
Yes, thank you. The first application this evening is A01/25 concerning 967-581 Oxford Waterloo Road. And so this application is proposing to allow for an additional dwelling unit detached to be located closer than the road than the main building. So the subject property is currently developed with a single detached dwelling, has a few outbuildings as well, and the applicant is proposing to construct an additional dwelling unit detached by way of converting an existing structure. The Township zoning bylaw states that an additional dwelling unit is a permitted use, but it cannot be located in the front yard, and in this case that means no closer to the road than the main building. As shown on the attached sketch that was included in the report, the additional dwelling unit is again going to be converted in part of an existing building, and the existing house is located at the very rear of the property, so it is not feasible to locate a new structure in behind there when considering Grand River Conservation Authority regulations and septic system constraints. In circulating the application, no concerns were received, and staff are recommending that the application be approved tonight.
Thank you. Would the applicant like to speak to the application? No? Is there anyone online that wants to speak to this one, Cameron? No? Okay, committee, is there any questions that we have for the applicant? Seeing none, could I get a motion from the committee to approve this application? Moved by Mr. Roth, seconded by Ms. Kohler. All in favor? And that is carried. And we'll move on to the second one, Cameron.
Yes, thank you. The next application is AO2/25 concerning 399 Peel Street in New Hamburg. So this application is proposing to reduce the front yard setback of a covered front porch from 7.6 meters to approximately 3.5 meters. So the subject property contains what was a single detached dwelling. It is currently in the process of being converted to a triplex located at the corner of Peel Street and Highway 78 in New Hamburg. The front of the building currently has an uncovered porch, and the applicant is proposing to cover it by constructing a roof that is attached to the house and as shown on the attached sketch. The existing home is closer than 7.6 meters, as well as the pad for the front porch, so any new construction could not meet the front yard setback requirement, and therefore the reduction is to approximately 3.5 meters to allow for this porch. The covered front porch itself is proposed to be a roof with 2 posts, so no walls, as to maintain visibility. And before we accepted an application, we did circulate to the Ministry of Transportation and the Regional Waterloo, who are the 2 transportation bodies in this case, and neither had any concerns with this construction in this area. In circulating the application, staff did not receive any written comment and are recommending that the application be approved.
Thank you. Is the applicant interested in speaking? No? Or is there anyone else online that would like to attend? No? Questions for Cameron? Seeing none, could I get a motion to approve the application? Moved by Steve, seconded by Christine. All in favor? And that is carried. And the third, please.
Yes, thank you. Moving on to AO3/25 concerning 1693 Nafziger Road. So this application is proposing to permit 25% of a proposed accessory building with a lot coverage of approximately 356 square meters to contain an additional dwelling unit detached. So subject property is a 41-acre property that's developed with a single detached dwelling. Recently, previous consent application as well as a variance application was brought to this committee to sever a small piece of land which was added to this property, and the applicant has now decided to construct a shop that contains an additional dwelling unit on the upper story. So once again, the township zoning bylaw permits the additional dwelling unit, but it may not exceed 75% of the lot coverage of the main building. So as it's worded, this applies to the entire building that the unit is located within, regardless of what percentage that dwelling unit occupies. So the dwelling itself has a square footage of approximately 1,244 square feet, or about 115 square meters, which is about 25% of the building's total area, which again is 356 square meters. So staff do feel that this does meet the intent of the regulations for additional dwelling unit, and again, so this variance is only required due to the size of the overall structure, not the unit itself. In circulating the application, staff did not receive any concerns and are recommending that it be approved.
Thank you. Would the applicant like to speak? No? Anyone online that's interested in speaking to it? No? Committee members, do you have any questions? Seeing none, could I have a motion to approve this application? Moved by Wayne, seconded by Christine. All in favor? And that is carried. Our last order of business today is to approve the minutes from our, was that November meeting, I guess? December meeting, yes, sorry. We will look at the minutes that are attached. Fair enough. I am sorry for confusing everyone. Could I get a motion to approve those minutes? Moved by Steve, seconded by Christine. All in favor? And that is carried. And that concludes our meeting for tonight. And thank you for attending.